Angus Young. In 1974, AC/DC was born in Australia. It was put together by the two young brothers, Angus and Malcolm. But they were helped a lot by their older brother, George, who'd already been a member of one of Australia's finest groups, the Easy Beats, in the late 60s. Now, by this stage, George was a record producer, and along with fellow Easy Beat member Harry Vander, they'd become a very strong force as record producers in this country. And they were very instrumental in the early success of AC/DC. In 1974-75, with their volatile but very talented lead singer in Bon Scott, they absolutely blitzed Australian audiences with their live performances. And then they released records, and they blew the Australian charts apart. Songs like TNT, Jailbreak, High Voltage, Dirty Deeds, Done Dirt Cheap, and Highway to Hell just absolutely broke open the Australian top 10. In 1976, AC/DC left for England to make it on the world market. They totally and utterly blitzed the punk audience in England at the Marquee Club. They then moved on to Europe and just conquered Europe completely. By 1978, they'd become a major force on the world charts. But there was one territory to break, and that was America. In 1979, they did just that. Then on the 19th of February 1980, they lost their lead singer, Bon Scott. It was a tragic death, and everyone thought that AC/DC was washed up. But on the 1st of April 1980, they found a new lead singer in Brian Johnson. And they returned with an album called Back in Black. They became a major group on the world charts. I'm very proud of this group. I term them as an Australian group. They lived here, they learnt their craft here, and there's something to be proud of. I hope you enjoy this interview with Angus Young. So here it is, AC/DC in profile. Arrive in Australia?
Let's see, 63, I think.
Yeah?
When they come.
And how old were you then?
Geez, that is personal.
No, I mean like...
How old were you?
God knows.
About 4 or 5.
Yeah? Now, obviously your brother was influenced by, well, both your brothers, Alex and George, were influenced by certain musical influences from England.
What are you drinking there?
I'm not drinking anything. What were you, when did you first get some influence as far as your own musical tastes were concerned?
Really from when I was pretty young.
Yeah?
Because you had a lot of old rock and roll songs, you know, Little Richard, Buddy Holly, stuff like that. It was always being played in the house. Right. So I picked up from that.
So who was playing the music, Alex or George?
Both of them.
Yeah.
Alex, George, and then later on Malcolm.
Right.
And I mean, they've all got their own different flavours, but yeah, it was mainly that sort of stuff, Little Richard.
Okay, so where were you living at this stage?
That was Scotland, just before we come to Scotland.
No, when you came to this country?
Oh, it's here. Let's see, I think they had it in Port Arthur in the old convict settlement somewhere down there.
Right.
Yeah. No, Sydney, here, in our hostel.
The Easy Beats, how much influence did that have on you two? Seeing your brother in a band that was the biggest band in the country?
No, a lot. Yeah. I mean, as far as what we like musically, a lot.
Did you go to many of the concerts?
No, we weren't really that, I mean, it was good in a way because my father kept us away from a lot, because there was a lot of, you know, they always sort of warned you what to keep away from, you know, because also you get, at that time, I mean, we all went to school, you know, so if you're in school, you know, at that time it was very new, even for people that, I mean, in school we used to get lectures on people with long hair, you know. Right. So they used to always tell you not to say who your family was and all what. If they ask you what your brother's done, just say they're in a musical, you know, but not to tell them that they play in a rock and roll band.
Obviously, I mean, some of them were going to find out. They were going to find it out at school, and then it would have spread. So once you were sort of like Angus Young, brother of George Young, star of the Easy Beats, I mean, like, how did you cope with that?
Well, it was pretty easy, but I mean, they were pretty good because the guy that managed them really kept it quite under control, you know.
Yeah.
He made sure that nobody knew where they lived and whatnot. You got the occasional kids, you know. There was a big raid once on our house. I remember coming home from school, seeing hundreds of kids mobbed outside the door, you know. But I mean, I was pretty smart. I mean, I just went round the block and then jumped over the fence and come in the house that way.
Right.